What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson, and guys, we can come back out of the shadows. We're back. I'm just kidding. In all reality, though, I mean, it was better tonight, but there are still some problems, and unfortunately, I do have to address those problems. But the reason that I'm not like, obviously making the joke and all, but I'm not really feeling like, okay, yeah, we're back, because first of all, West Brom didn't really challenge this tonight. And you can look back even on the Stoke result, the Brighton result, the ones that happened before we got embarrassed. Those results, you kind of look back and we were not really tested in those games. When we faced teams that did test us, we got crushed. So I will say that West Brom didn't really provide the I guess the finishing touch that some of the other teams did. Like Jay Rodriguez had that one miss early on. They had a couple chances in the second half. They probably should have finished. So this game easily could have ended 3-2, 3-3, and been a lot more dangerous for us. So I'm not going to take a whole lot out of this, but I am going to look at the positives and then some of the negatives. First of all, I want to talk about Lee Mason, the referee. Just pretty poor on his part, very one-sided. Just the main focus that I can point out is a lot of small niggly fouls going against us, and then the West Brom getting away with quite a bit. It wasn't like it was entirely one-sided. There were some calls going both ways, but I mean, there's a two-footed studs-up challenge on Zappacosta in the first half, not even called a foul, and he didn't have a good angle of it. So I have to wonder if maybe the FA is going to look back at that, because I mean, it was pretty dirty. It was studs up right to his shin. But that one he lets go, and then there's one late on the second half. Christensen pretty much just barged into the back by Rondon, and he's been calling all of that for them. Pedro kind of goes in on one of their defenders. He bails him out with that one. Giroud put in some challenges. He bailed him out in that one, and then Christensen gets barged in from behind, an obvious foul. And she's like, nah, play on. I want to see Rondon score a goal. I mean, you can't call all these little niggly fouls on us, and then when that happens and it's our last defender, you don't call that one. You've got to call it both ways, and this is a big story for me in this one. It's just the lack of consistency from him. But anyway, on to us. First of all, from Conte, slightly better decisions. He was helped out by the fact that I don't think Luis was available and Bakayoko is not available on red card. But here's the thing. If you ask me who were the 5 worst players against Watford, I would say all of the team. And then if you asked again and said, no, seriously, who are the 5 worst players, I would say all of the team. And then if you're just like, okay, all joking aside, no kidding at all, who are the 5 worst players, I would look at you and I'd be like, all the team. And then if you took out a knife and held it up to my neck and said, I'm going to kill you if you don't tell me the 5 worst players against Watford, I'd say, okay. In this order, Bakayoko, David Luiz, Zappacosta, Cahill, Pedro. Those are the 5 worst players that played against Watford. I mean, like I said, everybody had a bad game, but those are the ones that really stood out to me as just having very, very poor games. Bakayoko not available, David Luiz not available. The other 3, though, Zappacosta starts again. Pedro starts again. Cahill on the bench, comes off the bench, and plays again. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm saying bench everybody who plays bad, because then you'd be benching everybody after that last game. I mean, that's just the truth of it. But there are certain mysteries surrounding this. First of all, is Emerson that bad? I realize he hasn't really gotten a chance to play, but is he that bad to where Zappacosta, who provides you absolutely nothing, is getting the start over him and gets to play the full 90 minutes on top of that? I mean, Emerson didn't even get to play today, and he didn't get to play last game either, and he's healthy from what I can tell. I mean, I haven't heard any sort of injury reports about him. So is he just that bad to where you don't even want to play him, even though you've got a guy on the field that gives you nothing at all? Pedro, I'm sorry, he's not good enough this year. He has a few moments here and there. He works very hard to win the ball back, but he's not providing anything in the attack, and that's what we need up there. We need a guy who can provide in the attack. Willian, maybe still returning from injury. All right, well, yeah, I understand starting him on the bench. But what's wrong with Hudson-Odoi? I've seen nothing in his game that makes me think, yeah, he doesn't need to be playing with the top team. He needs to be down with it. I haven't seen anything that's made me thought that. Every time I see him play, I'm like, he's got a lot of quality. Let's get him out there. Let's see what else he's got. But for some reason, Conte's just like, put Pedro back out there, even though he doesn't give us anything. And honestly, I would say with like 85% certainty that he is the one with the most giveaways on our team in this game. Somebody can fact check me if they want to, but if you looked at all the players that gave the ball away, okay, Giroud actually had a few, but he was actually trying some stuff, and he's new to the team, so he's kind of getting adjusted. Pedro just straight up gives the ball away. Whether he's trying to dribble and then gets the ball poked off of him, or if he's trying to pass and passes it straight at the defender. Giroud, he always, every time he tried it in this game, it was at least away from the defender, and they chased it down and blocked the pass or something. So I don't know. I don't understand why Pedro continues to get time when he's not really earned it. There's nothing that makes me want Pedro out there. I prefer to see Willian, if he's not feeling well, then Hudson-Odoi. Give him a chance. He's looked good. Let's give him a start. Let's see what he can do. But anyway, as far as the rest of the team, starting lineup was exactly what I'd want. Back three, exactly what I want. Moses is out there. Fabregas is out there with Conte. And then Giroud is up top because Morata's not ready, and that's fine. And Hazard is playing. So the rest of it was fine. It's just those two players, Pedro, Zappacosta, I don't know why they're starting. And then as far as subs are concerned, most of them were okay. The first one, get Morata on for Giroud, and frankly, at that point, Giroud probably needed it. He came off like a wounded warrior, bandaged head, he got kicked in the calf. So, yeah, I mean, good to see Morata back, good to see him getting time after returning from injury. Willian coming on for Pedro, yeah. Get Willian some more minutes, get him back up to the level of play that he had at the beginning of the season, because we need him to be there again. But the one that doesn't make any sense to me, again, one of the worst players in the Watford game was Cahill. Why bring him on for Christensen? First of all, you got Ampadu on the bench. Hello. Youngster who's been playing very well, give him some minutes. But if you are going to bring on Cahill, why bring off Christensen? I don't understand. I mean, I know he got injured a couple games ago, so he's still returning, but I don't understand why you're putting Cahill in the middle. Against Bournemouth, that was awful. It was the worst decision he'd ever made. Okay, then Watford happened. But up until that point, I'm just like, why put Cahill in the middle? Because the thing is, Christensen plays a sweeper, and Cahill is not a sweeper. He doesn't have the speed to be a sweeper. So, I don't know. That's all from Conte, though. I spent way too much time talking about that. Let's get into individuals. Courtois came up with some very big saves. Had one in the first half where the guy was offside that was good. And then the one where Christensen gets fouled and then Rondon's 101 makes a great stop. Makes himself big, gets himself down, and flicks off his back foot and just wide. So it's one of those where it's not like he knew what he was doing, but he did put himself in such a position where he's big and he's low. And so anything up under him, it's flicked off his foot. Anything that's wide of him, he's going to get a hand to it. So I thought he did a very good job of coming out big in that case. Azpilicueta back to his best, crucially for us. Just very strong defensively, made some last-ditch challenges that I expect him to make. So back to the norm for Azpilicueta, thankfully. Christensen looked very, very good today, especially considering he's returning from injury. He looked very good in that case. He already looked good, and it's like, oh, he's coming back from injury? Wow, that's really, really good. So very impressed with him tonight. Rudiger, a lot of energy, not a lot that I can remember as far as the defensive part is concerned. I will say he was hindered a lot tonight because, he's got Zappacosta on his side who just does not help out at all defensively. So it's kind of hard whenever you've got a wing back that isn't going to help you and you've got to do a lot of the cover defense for him. So he wasn't helped there, but I thought he played okay. He did well defensively, did well coming out of the back. I don't know, he's kind of a player that doesn't really get noticed a lot, but he does his job well enough. So I do appreciate that side of it. Moses on the right side, he did have a couple mistakes here and there. That one that crucially nearly gifted West Brom the first goal, but then after that started stepping up. And by the second half, I thought he looked a lot better. and was starting to move the ball around a lot more. Still dribbles a bit too much. I prefer, I understand you're trying to open up space for a cross, but I prefer to get the ball away and then get it crossed in instead of get it and then cut and then get it cut. And then by that point, everybody in the box is already matched up and already marked. So I prefer a bit quicker cross, just get the ball out from under your feet, away from the defender, and then get it in. Because he's got the speed to. He just wants to try to beat them and then drive in and cross it. And I don't think... I think defenders are good enough nowadays to where they're not going to let you inside like that. So, but he did work hard. And, one of the things, like I've said before, compared to Zappacosta, he works back defensively. He will work his butt to get back, and that is something that I do appreciate out of him. So, as far as Zappacosta is concerned, I mean, he just doesn't... Matty Phillips had so much joy on their right side because he's up against Zappacosta, and it's so easy for him. I mean, I can't even count the number of times I saw Zappacosta get beat either behind with speed or just Phillips cuts around him and he just beats him with strength. It's just... he's not good enough. And I realize Alonso's hurt, and I realize Emerson hasn't really gotten a chance in the team, but how bad must Emerson be in practice if you're not even giving him a chance today? We're 3-0 up. Let him have some minutes. Let's see what he can do. But no, he doesn't get any time at all, and I'm just like, why do we even go get him? We needed a backup at left back. We loaned out Kennedy, our only other left back option, so we got another one back in. Why don't we use him? Why don't we utilize that? Alonso's out. Hey, let's use our backup left back instead of bringing over the backup right wing back. That doesn't make any sense to me. And I always have this thought in my head whenever I watch Zappacosta play. All I can think is, he's not a wing back. He may have played there on his past team. What was it, Roma? I think he came from. I don't remember. He may have played there in the past, but he doesn't actually play a wing back position. He plays a wing. Like, just any time I watch us on the attack, he is the front of the line. Like, he's almost always off sides. That's how far up the field he is. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm glad we have wing backs that can get up in the attack. Sometimes it works out brilliantly. But here's the thing. When your first thought, whenever we win the ball back in defense, is to get out of the defense and get up in the attack, that's not a wingback's role. You're there to move with the play. You're not a forward that runs away from the ball whenever we win it. You're a wing that kind of stays with the play and is there for help. Yes, you do get up in the attack, but you get up with the rest of the team. You don't get up by yourself. And that's what Zappacosta does every time I watch him. We win the ball back down the line. And so if we need to go to that left side, I'm seeing Conte have to drop over to the left side because Zappacosta's not there anymore. And we need help over there. We need width. Conte is the one providing the width because Zappacosta is all the way on the back line of the defense. So I'm tired of watching him, to be honest. I'm tired of watching that me mentality where it's all about me getting forward. I got to get forward because I want to be on the end of a pass. I want to attack the goal. I want to get forward. Stop doing what you want to do. Do what the team needs you to do, which is be there for the width, be there to support, and be there to defend. Most important thing out of that, be there to defend. So that's my frustration there. Conte and Fabregas in the middle. Conte back to his best for us as well as Espilicueta was. All the way around the field, always on, always making challenges, always putting pressure on people, and that's exactly what we need out of him. So I do think part of that is because we finally got a week's worth of rest. I mean, that's crucial. I think without that sort of bit of rest in between games, I do think Conte, even though he can run forever, I do think he does get a bit tired too. So I do think he was sort of feeling the fatigue after playing so many games in succession. So that week's rest probably had a bit of an impact on him, and honestly, he looked really, really good today. Fabregas looked better. I think part of that is down to the fact that West Brom didn't put a whole lot of pressure in the midfield for most of the game. They had a couple times where he stepped in, but he did have an outlet most of the time. I think that's huge for him. If he can't have time in the midfield to play that long ball, then he needs an outlet in the defense. Espilicueta or Rudiger stepping up, helping out so he can have an outlet to play just in case he doesn't have time. So I think, this type of game plays into his sort of style a little bit more when he sometimes has time to pick his head up and sometimes he doesn't. And he just has to keep the ball moving. So I don't know. I just think there are certain games where he's not effective because there's a lot of high press in the midfield and they're putting pressure on him instantly. And then there are some games where it's like the pressure's there, but he has time to decide what to do. So we'll see. Obviously, what Man U's our next game. That one's going to be a lot more difficult to play around in the midfield. So we'll see if he's back to his best or not in that one, I think. Up into the front three, Pedro, like I said, just a lot of giveaways. He has a couple moments that do come off, where he flicks on and it looks good. Sometimes he'll be on the end of a pass because he made a great run. But I just see way too many mistakes out of him, and it frustrates me. Knowing that we have Willie in and we've got Hudson Odoi, we loaned out Musonda, and then Pedro's still here. And he's still playing, and he's still giving the ball away. Hazard, very good today, obviously. Just 2 goals to show for it, which is really nice because sometimes he doesn't really get the goals or the assists to show for his great performances. Sometimes he just is the startup play that leads to a goal. But this one directly involved with 2 of them. Just really great goals too. First one, obviously great layoff from Giroud, but it's Hazard that starts it off, holding off. I can't remember who was trying to body him off. I want to say it was Kroshuak or whatever his name is. I don't know how to pronounce it. But was trying to body him off of it, and then he just holds his ground strong and then turns him, lays it to Giroud, who lays it off to him, and calm finish to that far corner. And then the second one was just a nice little ball in, and nice turn, runs in, and then I don't even know how he does it, but he has this sort of style of shot where it looks like he's about to go for that far corner and just try to bend it in around Foster, and all of a sudden that whip, and he just curls his foot around it and bends it towards the near post with a lot of power, and Foster's just has no time to react to it at all. I don't know how he does it, but I've seen him do it several times, and it looks fantastic when it comes off. So 2 great goals and a lot of good play before that as well. Very strong. Looks back to the best out of Hazard, which is, it's his position. That's the big thing. He's playing in his position. That's huge. And I think that's the big thing that hasn't been happening over the past 2 games where we got crushed. We didn't have Hazard in his best position. So he was still playing pretty well, but he's trying to be a number 9, and that's not his best position, even if he can sort of play it. And then Giroud up top, first start for us. Obviously got a bit of time against Watford, but at that point it's kind of difficult being a man down and being a goal down as well. But today showed what he's going to bring to the team. Strong, physical against their back line, very good at holding up the ball. He's also very good, I noticed, at reading that play whenever the ball does come in, of where to position himself against the back line. It's one thing to just be strong and hold it up. You also have to read the play to be able to win that ball in the first place. There are some strikers that are strong, but sometimes they kind of wait. They're like, okay, the ball's coming, and then they wait too long and somebody will nip in front of it and they don't have the chance to be strong. Giroud does a very good job of, he sees the defender, he knows he's about to step in, and so he does a good job of positioning himself in the right place to make sure that he doesn't get the ball poked off of him. And a lot of the times he does end up winning it. Overall, there were some problems here and there just because, like I said earlier, he was trying a lot of stuff and not all of it was coming off because new to the team, people were making runs that he's not expecting, and he's used to playing certain types of balls for players that he's never played with before. So I do think that will come. We did see with Costa when he first showed up, the passes between him and Hazard at first, they weren't quite there. They were a few, like a foot off or something like that. So it was just so close, but not quite there. But eventually, the connection happened, and then it just brilliant play. So I do expect Giroud will reach that at some point. But it's nice to see that he's come in and he's already gotten himself an assist. He looks like he's playing well, and he's fighting for the ball. Like I said, he got a gashed head from just trying to win the ball. Yes, it was an accidental kick in the back of the head, but that fight to try to get in and gets knocked over. Gets a kick in the back of the calf because he's trying to win the ball. Just putting himself in dangerous positions and forcing the defense to have to foul him. It's good to see from a striker. So, subs Murata came on, looked energetic. I'm hoping to see a bit more out of him just because there were some moments where it felt like he didn't really know what he was doing on the ball. It kind of got stuck on it, stuck under his feet as well. So hopefully he can find his legs. I hope he gets a start against Hull. just because he does need to get some time on the field and get some more game time to sort of get his legs back. Especially before we play Man U, we're gonna need Giroud to be at the top of his game when he starts, and I think we need Morata to come off the bench and be very energetic late on. So we'll see how that works. Cahill came on and didn't see much out of him. He had to make a few defensive challenges, but overall wasn't really tested. I will say it is kind of scary having him back there as the last line of defense, especially when Rondon is running at him. Knowing that Rondon is much, much faster, it can be kind of scary. So, yeah, I don't know. I just don't like that formation of having Cahill as the sweeper. I prefer much more to have Cahill in the middle as more of a stopper with Rudiger and Spilicueta covering behind, because that feels much more comfortable. It feels like they have enough speed to sort of cover for Cahill, whereas Cahill covering for them, no, that doesn't work. Christensen doesn't have that much speed, but he has enough to deal with some of the pacey strikers, and he's smart enough to know where to position himself. Cahill just doesn't. And then the last one, Willian came on. Looks like he still has a ways to go before he's really back up to pace. He has a few moments here and there, but overall, the passes weren't really coming off. It was kind of sloppy at times, a couple giveaways. So overall, good win, 3-0, solid at home. It's good to get a clean sheet. It's good to get a bit more confidence back in the boys. But yeah, we still got a long way to go before we've really gotten this season back on track. It's headed in the right direction now, but I said that before. I felt that way after the Brighton match. I'm like, okay, we're back on track. It feels like we're heading towards. We're gonna have the next few games. Bournemouth should be easy at home. Watford on the road should be easy. West Brom at home should be easy, and we get one win out of those three. Yeah, it's a problem. So I don't know. I don't want to put too much in this, but I do feel like part of the problem in those two games were some of the personnel. And I think Conte, I hope he realized it. It sounded like he is sort of taking some of the responsibility for those two matches as far as his lineup and stuff, not putting a recognized striker up top. I do feel like he saw the error of that and saw the error of some of the players that he put out there. So maybe it will be getting better from here, but all I can do is cross my fingers and hope that this is really a sign that we're starting to take a step in the right direction and not just a little blip where West Brom was awful and we just happened to be better than them. So that's it for me, though. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this game? Let me know. We can talk about it and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.